Let's clarify, Remington did not settle. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC, P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website, www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. But let's talk about this. As we all know, it's all over the news that Remington, according to headlines, Remington has settled with the Sandy Hook families for a disclosed amount of $73 million. From the CNBC website, I'm going to skip a lot of this stuff. I'm not going to get into the, I'm just going to stick with the meat and potatoes of this because a lot of this stuff is just fluff and we need to get to what this is really about. So, the families of some of the adults and children killed in the 2012 mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School reached a $73 million settlement Tuesday with Remington, the manufacturer of the AR-15 used in the massacre. The settlement agreement also allows the families to make public thousands of pages of internal company documents that prove Remington's wrongdoing, attorneys for the plaintiff said in his press release. This victory should serve as a wake-up call not only to the gun industry, but also the insurance and banking companies that prop it up, said the family's attorney Josh Koskoff in the release. Now, we know what happened. I don't need to read this, but I will point out one thing. This is very interesting. Killed 20 students and 6 adults in less than 5 minutes. We know what happened there. Only 9 families are suing, which means we got 17 families who are not involved in this, which I would like to find out why they're not involved. It might shed some light on what actually is going on. 9 victims' families sued in 2014, alleging Remington bore some responsibility for the massacre through its marketing of the weapons. I have never seen an ad from Remington or anyone else that says, "Hey mom, be irresponsible and go buy your autistic son some firearms. Hey autistic son, check it out. Why don't you go down to school and kill a bunch of people?" I've never seen that ad. Nor have I ever seen any ad that said it's like glorifying to go shoot somebody. Okay, so I come on down here, and I'm going to skip over that. Okay. And of course, Joe Biden chimed in. He was vice president at the time. If you remember, Obama cried during the press conference for this. He didn't cry for the people of Boston, for the Boston Marathon, which, once again, a child was killed there too, but this has more political clout. So I guess that's what made the tears more, usable. But Joe Biden obviously had something to say. President Joe Biden, who was vice president at the time of the Sandy Hook massacre, hailed the settlement. While this settlement does not ease the pain of the tragic day, it does begin the necessary work of holding gun manufacturers accountable for manufacturing weapons of war, which is a stupid statement, and irresponsible marketing these firearms. Once again, I've never seen an ad where somebody says, yeah, it's okay to go shoot someone else. I've never seen any gun company put that ad out there. But if somebody can find one for me, I'm all in. The president said in a statement issued Tuesday evening, together we can deliver a clear message to gun manufacturers and dealers. They must either change their business models to be part of the solution for the gun violence epidemic. Please note the word epidemic that he's using here, because under his administration, the CDC is doing research into gun violence and trying to claim that gun violence is an epidemic, which allows them to circumvent the Constitution. Be very leery of what they say and the wording they use, or they will bear the financial cost of their complicity. Okay, now I'm going to go over to this other article. This is very interesting. Sandy Hook, $73 million settlement with Remington is not just about money. Well, it is mostly about money because you don't sue for nothing. But for gun control advocates, the Sandy Hook settlement represents a rare and historic victory. The families of 9 people killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, announced Tuesday to reach a $73 million settlement in their lawsuit against Remington, the maker of the AR-15 style weapon the gunman used in the 2012 massacre. The settlement The settlement is the largest in U.S. history, involving the gunmaker and relatives of the mass shooting victims, but its significance goes beyond money. The legal agreement also offers an unusual step towards transparency. It requires Remington Arms Company, America's oldest gun manufacturer, which filed for bankruptcy in 2020, keep that in mind, that's very important, to release thousands of pages of internal company documents, including plans for how to market the weapon. This case was never about damages in the sense of compensation. Josh Koshkoff, the family's lead attorney, said in Tuesday's news conference, it was about damages in the sense of forcing change. It was about damages in the sense of realizing the goals of these families to do whatever they can to prevent the next Sandy Hook. Because any other method of killing people does not require change either. I'll get deeper into that, trust me, to show the hypocrisy of this. For the firearms industry, the settlement is a major defeat that opens up the prospect of further litigation. For 17 years, gun manufacturers or makers have faced almost unique immunity from lawsuits thanks to the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, or PLCAA, a sweeping 2005 federal law championed by the National Rifle Association and signed into law by President George W. Bush. It protects firearms manufacturers and dealers from being held liable when their products are used in deadly crimes, because it's kind of stupid to hold a company liable for a product when somebody uses it in a nefarious manner. And I'm going to give you examples of that. But just go through this here. Now, there's a lot of fluff, you'll never bring my child back. Well, being stabbed to death doesn't bring you back either, litigation. But once again, there's so much hypocrisy here. Now, one gun right advocacy group emphasized Tuesday that the settlement was orchestrated by insurance companies and downplayed its effect on PLCAA. That's important. The plaintiffs never produced any evidence that Bushmaster advertising had any bearing or influence over Nancy Lance's decision to legally purchase a Bushmaster rifle, nor on the decision of murderer Adam Lanza to steal that rifle, kill his mother in her sleep, and go to commit the rest of his horrendous crimes. Mark Oliva, a spokesman for the Washington-based National Shooting Sports Foundation, said in a statement. Okay. Now, there is another one here. I'm briefing through because there's different information in different articles that I think is important. That's why I went back and forth with several different articles. Okay. Now, this one here. Okay, this is from the New York Post. Remington saddled itself with debt in part to cover legal expenses as family and the victims sued the company. Once again, that's a very important piece of information we need to keep. And following Remington's filing Tuesday, families of 9 Sandy Hook victims pressed J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon to stay out of the way of their suit. J.P. Morgan is one of the former creditors that now own the company. We call on J.P. Morgan and other corporate owners to do the right thing, Mark Barden, who lost his son Daniel in the shooting, said. Leave our case intact so that we can shed light on Remington's reckless decisions to help ensure that your family doesn't have to endure the never-ending heartache of losing your child to preventable gun violence. Okay, I'm gonna go right for that one there. Violence is not preventable. A person who has malice in their heart is going to commit a crime of violence against another. You can't prevent it. Unless that person individually, you hear or see them do something that leads you to believe that violence is coming next, that's one thing. But no one could have seen this coming. Just as much as no one could have seen a man taking an SUV and plowing through a crowd of people and killing 8 of them. Just as much as people could not, well, they should have, but we could argue that people could not have seen 19 men taking over planes and using them as basically missiles. What has happened here and what this has done, as I said, there were some important points that we need to point out that need to come to light. Remington didn't settle anything. This was the 4 insurance companies that settled these suits. Okay, Remington was basically bankrupt in 2020 with a company called Vista Outdoors who bought up a large sum of their assets, and J.P. Morgan was also another one of the large purchasers of the Remington products. a name, assets, what have you. So we shouldn't really jump on Remington over that, but it's not really, the anti-gun establishment is calling this a victory. It's not. It's just a court settlement. So there's not really any victory because Remington didn't settle. The insurance companies did. But that's where it brings you back to, then why use the name Remington? Why keep saying Remington settled? Every single article you read says Remington settles, Remington settles, Remington settles, because they want to attach this to an actual gun company. Remington did not settle. They want to put this on a gun company so that every time somebody gets shot, regardless of the circumstances leading up to the shooting or what the reasonings behind it happen to be, somebody can then turn around and say, I'm going to go sue the gun company who made the gun. What that is going to do is just create a massive, massive litigation problem. But that's what they want. This is what they want. This is the plan. It creates a massive litigation problem with the gun companies who now have to answer every single lawsuit. You can't just brush it aside. You have to answer it, which costs money. That's what this is about. Remember, there were 26 people killed. Only 9 families are involved in this. They claim it's not about the money. Yes, they're partly right. It's not about the money. Sandy Hook was politicized 10 seconds after it happened. And this is just another step in that political move to hamper the gun companies with wanton litigation. People have, kind of seen the dollar signs flash before their eyes. And now and we're going to have mounds of ridiculous lawsuits on top of lawsuits on top of lawsuits. I've always said that if this event at Sandy Hook had been carried out any other way, we wouldn't be talking about it. Now, that sounds kind of harsh, doesn't it? It does. But let's look at the truth of the matter. Murrah Building, Oklahoma City. We don't talk about that anymore. Boston Marathon. That wasn't, that was very recent. We don't talk about that either. Poor girl loses her life for turning on prom date. We don't talk about her. If this had been carried out any other way, we wouldn't be talking about it. We would give our condolences or shames and then financial support, but we wouldn't talk about it. As I said before, Sandy Hook was politicized 10 seconds after it happened. And they've used this specific event that has been literally the anchor for gun control moves across the country. Now, we've kind of thrown away individual responsibility and accountability. We've tossed that aside because, it's always someone else's fault that things happen. We never take accountability for ourselves. The only person here who is guilty of all this is Adam Lanza. And that's it. Not Remington, not Bushmaster, not the guy who made the ammunition, not the guy who made the magazine, not the people who advertised it. Because like I said, I've never seen an ad where they say, yeah, let's glorify killing other people. I've never seen an ad in 20 years of retail gun experience. So I'm sitting on edge waiting to see what advertising they claim is the catalyst for Adam Lanza to go do that. And Biden's little foray into weapons of war, once again, propaganda, just like assault weapon, it's all propaganda. Okay, it's nonsense. Back when the Second Amendment and when the Constitution, period, and the Bill of Rights was written, the musket was a weapon of war, and everybody had one. But we will see how this curtails, but I'm going to bet you, I put every dollar on the line to tell you that this is going to open the floodgates for just garbage lawsuits aimed at the gun company, because that's what this is about. This was the goal right from the beginning, to bring all these lawsuits against the gun company to try to bankrupt it and to cause, creditors or insurance companies to not want to deal with them, because they then become, the focus of these lawsuits. But we shall see. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments in the comments section below. As always, any comments to violence or statements to violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time a video goes live. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.